week where Manchester United has finally signed one. Has finally signed one player. Hey, yawa, hii team itanimaliza. Thank you so much for joining us today, right here on Daybreak. My name is Willis Rabodu. It's so good to have you here with us on this beautiful sporty Monday. We are, as we are told in the editorial department, to keep our stories short and crisp. That's how we are. We are a lean team today. We are with Tijan Isaac Swiller.
Freshly minted from Kisumu.
From Kisumu City?
Yes.
How was it?
Cool. The Lakeside City never disappoints.
Yes.
Most of our dollar things and dollar sevens. Yeah.
How was, I'm interested, I know we'll talk about it, but how was the reception, the crowd, and general love for the sport from your own view?
Basically, it was a busy weekend for Kisumu. Not just the sports aspect, but even hospitality.
Right.
The hotels were well booked. What they are calling Airbnb were well booked. The flights were fully booked, by the way. Interestingly, all the flights yesterday evening, you couldn't get any flight. So that tells you the kind of traffic along that route, which is good for airlines. Probably a challenge for them to increase the number of flights, probably.
They're already 4, right?
They're already 4, but they were all booked. The demand was more than the supply.
Wow.
So that tells you that something good is happening, and it's good for the economy of that region. Over and above, I think I had a good time to really inspect, in my own view, the Jomo Kenyatta International Sports Stadium. I think the facility is good, but only if we would made the terraces much better.
Right.
I think the playing surface right now is the best in the country. It's quite pretty good. I hope the national government can pump in a little more, and jointly with the county government.
Right.
And this probably can give us a chance. You know, as things stand, we don't have any stadium that can host an international football match. So over and above, I think it's a pretty good thing down there.
It was good, all right. And also we have here the one and the only, the Twiga, the seas, the Pharisee, because he sees far.
Well,
Rocha, how are you?
I had a relatively cool weekend. There was nothing much to be done.
Sorry.
Fortunately, these guys
Wakikuona kwa TV wanaanza kupiga
simu. On your case. But coming back to my weekend, I think I had a very easy weekend.
Yes.
The soccer leagues are over. Nothing much to talk about. The only thing that I'm preparing for is over the weekend. I'm having some tournament in Agorosari, Homa Bay.
You want to be an MP?
No.
It's just giving back.
I'm giving back. I'm giving back. There's been pressure.
From the supporters.
From the supporters.
There's been pressure from that side that I need to do something. So over this coming weekend, we're having the finals of Arocho tournament. Okay. That will be at Agorosari on Sunday. So for guys who are watching, I think we should all be there and see what that region, because currently we are not seeing much of Premier Soccer in that region. The teams that were from that region, Sony Sugar, Shabana went down. So me and some few friends of mine, we're trying to come up with something that will make that region vibrant. All right.
Well, that's great. We want to welcome all viewers, and one very special one in particular. His name is Peter Otieno Raburu. Who happens to be my father.
Mzee Otondi.
No, that is now my grandfather, Mzee Otondi. Okay. But Peter Otieno is watching, so is Ruth Akinyi. So big up yourselves. Let's get into it. We want to talk about the Dollar Sevens, and you mentioned a little bit about it. So I guess I'll start. I'll also give Arocha a chance. Arocha, the Dollar Sevens happened. Of course, Homeboys did their thing. This is that time, like we said before, we had quite a number of changes in terms of rugby and what was going on in terms of, you know, the champions, the new champions that you see. What do you feel, what did you feel about the Dollar Sevens and how that went down?
I was impressed with the crowd on Saturday because basically sports is a package. The package comes with the playing and of course the fans. Saturday was a good crowd. Though Sunday went down, I think that one Swiller can expound more, but I was impressed because, you know, when it goes down to the region, it shows that the game is growing. and that's what we miss in soccer. I saw it in Ethiopia. You know, in Ethiopia, when they're playing the Premier League, they converge at one venue for 3 to 4 days. Then after they've played, they'll take a rest of a week, then of course move to another region. So for me, Dallas 7 was a success because rugby somehow has been on a low as far as our results are concerned. But coming back to Homeboys, I think they're pushing. They're pushing. They've been trying to do it for the last 3 or so seasons. It has not worked, but this one is showing that they are pushing. And of course, if all goes well, they might tilt the scale. Look at what happened to KCB through the season, last season. The fact that they couldn't hold the grip. They've been there for some time, a long time, and they couldn't hold the grip anymore. So kudos to Homeboys, and I believe this is just but the beginning of their success.
So Sule, you talked about, and you have it on screen, you talked about the pitch, the environment, but what did you feel about the players and the quality of play generally during Dallas Sevens?
One, first things is that we have quite a huge number of young players coming through the ranks. Under 20s, we had some very good talents on parade. A player from Kisumu RFC being picked as one of the most promising talents in the rugby sevens. That's something good to point out. And the fact that Kisumu RFC, remember, this is a team that has really struggled. Previously, the late Fidel Odinga was the chairman of this club. And the beauty was now Kisumu were hosting this the first time in 3 years. Remember, with COVID, we've not been having this circuit. So basically, this is the 4th leg. We had the first 2 legs, that's Christie Sevens and Kabeberi Sevens, right in Nairobi at RFUA. After that, 2 weeks ago, we were in Mombasa for the Driftwood Sevens, which was won by Mwamba. And now we are having Kisumu hosting the Dallas Sevens. And as I told you, Fidel Odinga was the chair of this club. And we had Winnie Odinga actually come in yesterday and present some little token to the team, basically from Fidel Odinga Foundation, to go a long way in supporting the club. And while there, I was able to engage Mr. Geoffrey Yogo, who is one of the executives of the club. And they're saying they've been through a lot of challenges, but it's high time corporates came out to sponsor this team. Because again, you look at the setup of rugby in this country, then you realize much of the talent is domiciled in western part of this country, vis-a-vis Western Province, Kakamega region, Vihiga and so forth. Then again, you come to Kisumu, where we have a lot of love for that game. So in Yogo's own view, they have had a lot of struggles. And we saw some corporates like Kisumu Specialist Hospital come in purposefully to sponsor the team through this leg. Another important thing to draw is I saw lots of corporates do a lot of activations on the ground. Take, for instance, Tusker. They just had what they're calling a Tusker village for themselves. Entertainment, men and women like Arocho gulping the frothy drinks that they so wish. So apart from the beautiful game on the pitch, there was a lot of business end to it. I saw corporates like Stanbic, which are against sponsoring Mwamba, also having tents there. So if you go to a rugby event, there's a lot of things that goes on there apart from the game. But if I stick to the sporting aspect of it, you realize that the circuit has become very, very competitive. Contrary to the years gone by, where his KCB would win maybe 4 legs out of 6. And I'm glad that's not happening anymore because KCB finished 3rd this time round. Menengai Oilers, who were runners-up in Mombasa, again were runners-up yesterday. And in fact, on Saturday, I had an interview with Mark Kwemoi, one of the brightest prospects in Menengai Oilers. And he was telling me, in Mombasa, we finished runners-up. So in Dala, we can only win it. Unfortunately, they couldn't nick it in the bud. But now, from Dallas Sevens, action moves to Nakuru this weekend. That's for the Prinsloo Sevens. After Prinsloo, it will go to Kakamega. That's the final leg. So we're going to know who are the ultimate champions. Remember, this title is still with KCB. But as I said, a lot of talents on parade. We had veterans who've played the game for so long. Humphrey Ayange was there. basically just doing the scouting, seeing how maybe it's panning out. Andrew Amonde returned to action for KCB, and speaking with his coach Mwanja after the match, he says the return of Amonde actually brings a lot of leadership, a lot of experience. And even the national sevens team, Shujaa coach Damaine McGrath, he's been a constant presence in all these legs. And even I was able to engage him in Kisumu, and he says, yeah, some development. Right now we are not likely to see quite a lot of changes in the team for the Commonwealth. But again, probably after July, August, probably we are going to see some fresh faces, of course, coming into the team. But of course, with the leadership of big names who've played there for quite a long time. So the transition gonna take time, but you don't make those holistic changes. But on the local end of it, I think it's been very competitive, because in Mombasa, no one gave Mamba a chance to bag the title. And even in Kisumu, going into the Dallas Sevens, nobody thought Homeboys or the DJs would win it. But look, they were able to put their foot down and win this title. So even Prinsloo, I think, is open in anybody's game. The beauty again of it is we are seeing a lot of university teams really competing very hard. You have the Catholic monks from the Kwea, Catholic University of Africa. You have Zetech team from Zetech University. You have the Main Machine. All these teams are competing. Strathmore Leos from Strathmore Universities. Actually, Leos won one of the legs in Nairobi. So I think we just need to go all out, develop this game more. A lot of sponsorship need to come on board and to make rugby grow. Just the unfortunate bit is we don't have any rugby arena in this country. Because if you look at the venue, that's
an unfortunate bit for a lot of sports in Kenya.
Actually, RFUA Ngong Road, that's actually the spiritual home of rugby. But in the last 50 or 60 years, we've not developed that facility. So a lot of things to pick, and probably I hope the incoming regime would probably give that a lot of emphasis. That is
a very sad statistic you've said there, 50 to 60 years. Anyway, well, it's interesting. I think I like the fact that, like you said, there are a lot of corporates that are coming in, which we've always said, I guess, any place where there is a semblance of structure, of order, then, you know, corporates will always come in. And I know we're going to talk about the league kicking off in a bit, but that will probably be something that football would borrow a leaf for. And of course, like I said, we'll talk about it, because we still also want to talk about almost inking a deal. And I remember last time not for want of hearing, you were very specific in talking about the exit clause of some of these deals that the corporates come with. So we're going to talk about that. But first, let's talk about Simba and, the unfortunate Ugandans. But let's talk about how that panned out. Rocho, what did you feel about that? Simba wakimalizana na watu wa Uganda.
Well, at times I'm perplexed, if I may use that word. I think it is just how you prepare yourself. For me, preparation is very important in sports. Swila and Oburu. Success doesn't just come just that way. Success in sports, in any kind of sport, in any discipline, is prepared. So you just need to prepare. So for Simba, getting the results they got over the weekend, it is something that has been coming. Just to pick on what Swila alluded to earlier, about the venues. He talked about us not having a rugby venue, a proper rugby venue, because most of these venues are artificial, if I may use that word, because each and every time we have to come in and put some rugby kiraka, some kiraka on a football. So you have to have the infrastructure ready. This will help very much to promote and even give incentives to any young lads who would like to join the sport. So once again, I'll be talking about, I'll emphasize about infrastructure. And this is where most of these European countries do us in, because They might not have that talent. All they have is good infrastructure. They prepare so well. They have the incentives to play the various games that they have. And eventually, they get their results. Yes.
And what do you think about that?
Simba's mauling Uganda Cranes, that's no brainer. Everybody expected, because if you look at the profile, the status of rugby development, you look at head-to-head count, you look at the talents on parade, Uganda doesn't hold a candle to Kenya.
Right.
So this victory was expected. The question is, can the Simbas go all the way and bag a ticket to the 2023 Rugby World Cup finals that will take place in France? That's now the million-dollar question. But beating...
You think they can?
I'm a little bit... I'm cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
But we had very good campaigns, by the way. Good preparations when it come for so long. And if you look at the results, maybe if we can have the graphics shortly, Simbas have been hard at work under Coach Paul Odera. Then you look at the profile of the players we have in Simbas again. Ni wachezaji wa haiba kubwa sana. Even KCB have lost quite a number. Yeah, I went to school and you see. Yeah, so you can look at the graphics. That basically just sums up what we are talking about, because now after winning against Uganda, that was in the quarters, we're going to face Algeria as Namibia collide with Zimbabwe. Then the quarter-final results are as shown. Namibia, of course, were victorious. Zimbabwe, you can see the outcome. They are thumping Ivory Coast. Kenya, of course, crushing Uganda, and Senegal falling to Algeria. So we have a date with Algeria. Remember, in football-wise, we don't come anywhere close to Algeria.
That's right.
But this being rugby. So whoever wins between Kenya and Algeria, and this will be on Wednesday in the semis, going all the way to the final. So the winner in the final, and just one team, gets a chance to go to France for the final, where we'll be joined by South Africa. South Africa have already qualified. So we're going to have South Africa and one other African team. So naturally, or in the scheme of things, I think Kenya should take that chance, because if you look at even the World Rugby Series, in Africa, I don't think there's a team that stands out apart from Kenya and the Springbok. These are the big name teams. So I'm hoping Paul Odera and his charges can actually be very ruthless against Algeria, go to the final and nail that ticket. But again, if you look at it, and this is what Coach Damaine McGrath was saying, if you look at our rugby for long, 15s has been our side, and it took us so long to embrace the 7s. And again, if you look at the league, that's the Kenya Cup, it's very, very competitive because it adopts a 15s asides format. So I'm hoping Simbas can go all the way, do us proud, and nail that ticket to take us to France.
Just to pick on what you're saying, look at the infrastructures, look at the investment that, for example, a country like Algeria has put in rugby. Look at I was in South Africa during the World Cup, and I visited one of the facilities they have for rugby. It's out of this world compared to what we have in Kenya. So at times I normally look at Kenya as a blessed country, because our infrastructure notwithstanding, we are still able to match these big boys. You're talking about us playing against Algeria, and in any case, if we make it against Algeria, then we are moving into the finals. But when you compare the two infrastructures, you compare what we have in Kenya, and once again, I'll say it, we are just a blessed country. All we need to do is just to pick the blessing and match it up with investment.
I think that's for me, I mean, now I think because Shitara and Mukami are away, I can also weigh in. I think that is what I think Swila would call partly our Achilles heel. Because I think that because we do so well, we have maximum output and minimum input, then it makes the stakeholders a bit casual.
Yeah,
I mean, but you know, if you go there, the team is doing well.
Yeah,
so what do you mean facilities? Come on, as a fika hapa hivi, you know.
Yeah.
Or then they also have that mentality of, you know, the team is doing well, so tukiwapatia tu kidogo, then we'll take them to the next level. When in reality, it's not kidogo that is needed. It's actually a lot more. Yes.
A real push, by the way. And look at, for instance, this match. Darwin Mukidza was so outstanding, our kick specialist, yeah? Those tries, he converted nearly all of them.
Right.
And even if you look at how Mukidza has been playing in the league, very outstanding with the kicking duties. Now, you're talking of facilities, but again, if you go to Kisumu, go to Kakamega, go to Vihiga, go to Bunyore, just see the young men who are into this game. And look at so many that have gotten jobs playing at the top level and how it's changing fortunes, it's changing life. I was with a colleague in Kisumu from a rival media house who is basically producing a film about one of our star players, actually Amonde. And she's going to take time, around 6 months, just producing this over. And because the big name star that Amonde is, we have already corporates who've already come on board, just waiting for this to air, right? So yes, there's a lot of goodwill. There's a lot of youngsters. They just need that platform. And I just wish even these matches, we could have a broadcast partner so that when we're having Prince Law Sevens in Nakuru, it's being beamed live on the major stations. If you're talking about Kenya Cup, these matches are live on television because our rugby is just followed within our borders. There are agents across the world who are just following this game. Remember some interesting scenario back when the Ugandan team went to play some tournament in Germany, and the entire squad of Uganda went missing. And those who went missing, actually, when they walked into any of the German clubs for trials, they all landed deals. And that's actually a life-changing experience. I'm not saying that they should, that's the path we should use, but that tells you the talent we have in this part of the world, and what they're waiting for is just a platform to break through.
All right, yeah, and I get also, by the way, Stephen Chitera is watching us from Suswa. He's on assignment.
That's why today, you know, the setting
there is some peace.
Yeah, there's some peace.
So he's an
we no. Everybody's contributing inside. If in any case we had Chitera, could have been talking about grassroots. But that's one thing I like about Chitera.
Yes,
he's always passionate about what happens in the grassroots.
In the grassroots, and that's actually where everything is. If you look at all this, like you've said, the way it's changing people's lives back home, that's great. And to further emphasize my point about the team is doing well, and so therefore let's not get in. We have the Morans who are supposed to travel, then they are not going to travel, then they finally travel, then, you know, it's, I like what, I don't like, but Capital FM called it, the Morans are stretching out their begging bowels, asking for funding to travel. What do you...
It's very unfortunate, to say the least, Oburu. I think we miss our priorities as a nation, because I think we had a budget. Of course, the Ministry of Sport had a budget. Just the other day we saw the ministry release a statement indicating that currently they don't have finances to finance any of our national teams. But I assume, it's just an assumption because the way it stands, something is wrong. I just assume that we had a budget. Most of these federations sent their calendars to the government. And I believe that we had a budget, and then we had to prioritize. Of course, we had Olympics the other day. We had
the transition committee.
Yeah, of course. We are having the Commonwealth coming up. But I think there are certain sports which are really suffering in this country.
Yes.
A sport like basketball, a sport that currently we are showing some prospects, is suffering. How do we expect a team to travel the day they are supposed to be playing? They give a walkover. You move into a tournament already disadvantaged because you've already lost a point that you didn't really lose on the pitch. And that's why I normally look at these manifestos of the various political formations. I think we as a sports fraternity, we are given a raw deal.
Yeah, sure.
All this, I think there's only one presidential aspirant who has not given his manifesto.
Mwaura. Today or tomorrow?
I saw Wajakoya giving his manifesto. I never saw, okay, with Wajakoya, for me, I see a lot of sideshows, but I never saw anything sport. When I saw William Samoei Ruto do his manifesto, yes, he mentioned something about sports, but I need something tangible. I need you to tell me that, first of all, appreciate that sports is an industry.
Right.
Then you have to pump in money. Tell me how much. The way you are talking about agriculture, the way you are talking about infrastructure, you need also to tell me, as a sports person, how much are you going to invest so that we can talk about, we can start that discussion? I saw Raila Amolo Odinga present his manifesto. I never saw something that really holds our attention as sports people. It's high time that we need to be considered. And when we are moving on to the election, after the election, the most disappointing thing, guys, is the minister that is going to be appointed in this ministry. At times, it's just rewarding people who perhaps have done some campaign for you. It's high time that we give the ministry some importance. Somebody who knows what is doing. I'm not saying that the current minister, ambassador, doesn't know what she does. But look at the previous administrations. Look at the previous ministers. Somebody who just comes in simply because perhaps his region was not covered.
Presented, so,
yes, so yes, somebody from Karachuonyo. Karachuonyo has not been picked in this government, so we have. So it's high time that people need.
I mean, even if that is to be the case, I mean, the reality of Kenyan politics sometimes is that yes, you must reward regions, but even if that is the case, can they find somebody at least? You know how
you see
how in the proverb, let me be like Shitere in the Bible. You know, when the sons were presented to Jesse, Jesse's sons were presented to Samuel, is there any other son? At least can they present somebody with, you know, credentials? And I mean, like you've said, I was one of the people in the beginning, in the Biningi, who when Ambassador Amina was given, I was very critical of it. She has come to prove me wrong, of course. She's really tried and done so much for the ministry. She has her faults, everybody does, but she's done actually very well. And the onus is on the next regime to give somebody, because like you said, everybody presented their calendar. You have a country where, and sometimes rightfully so, because of the returns, we are not complaining. We like the 6 billion or 8 billion that was made from the rally. That's great. But then, if it's 6 billion,
but you know, for me again, yes, because at the beginning of every financial year, all these federations submit their budgets to the ministry, as you've said. And I remember, it's not just Morans, even the Simbas before traveling. Remember, the sport ministry had issued a circular saying, between now and then, we don't have any finances. If you must travel, all must do ABCD, look for alternative sources of funding. Now the calendar year has begun. I'm just thinking aloud, as you said, you submitted your calendar of activities. The ministry in its budgeting will know this 20 million will go towards Harambee Starlets. We have a further 50 million to go towards Morans, for instance. I think that should be the case. The issue of the financial year ending and therefore we don't have money should not arise. Two, we have various sources of revenue, most of our sports. We have the sports fund, which should be able to raise a lot of monies, even through lotteries, to go help sports federation, other than the budgetary allocation. But also, these are learning lesson to the federation chiefs. Not every time you should just be running to the government, begging Baul to saidie to pay pesa. Yes, it's their cardinal responsibility. But can we also have leaders of vision? I'd love a discussion where Arocho walks to Ambassador Min and say, look here, Ambassador, in my capacity as the Football Kenya Federation President, this is the budget we tabled to your office through this calendar year. However, through our own initiative, through the corporate and the deals we've signed with these entities, we had asked for 1 billion. We already have on the table 500 million. The 500 million we have, this is how we are going to use it. 200 million towards talent development, right? Maybe 100 million towards paying employees and the national team coaches and so forth. And therefore, whatever you're going to give us, we want just to cater for this. It becomes very easy. These federations can also make money. they should also be run as probably not as commercial ventures, but they should be able to raise their own money, attract corporates.
Yeah.
Because in a few weeks' time, I think actually 2 from now, the whole world will be focusing on Aragon, where we're having the World Championship. 3 days later, we are in Commonwealth in the UK. But again, go look at the number of corporate entities who've signed deals with the World Athletics, for instance. The number of corporate entities who've signed deals with Athletics Kenya or ROC, because they have faith in these institutions. Now, the case of Moran is something embarrassing because
very embarrassing.
2 years, not even 2 years, I think last year when Morans won the Afro-Basket,
yes,
everybody took pride in there. We were all hailing the likes of Griffins and the big names in that squad. Right now, they gave a walkover. The travel was so disjointed. And actually, FIBA, the international basketball body, had to step in to have this team travel.
Because they've even seen how promising
they are. But now this is an embarrassment because the players are going there to defend the flag. This is an international assignment. So when we have such kind of embarrassment, it's our country that gets ridiculed. How does FIBA maybe take us serious next time? And the same thing we are talking about. You look at the courts in this country. They're in a deplorable state. Look at the Nyayo Gymnasium. Look at the Indo Arena in Kasarani. There's nothing really much to smile about. In fact, Moran's big run in the international assignment is not because we've been developing talent here, but because of the individual effort of these brilliant players who've landed deals with some of the big clubs outside the world. And now they have the exposure, they have the skills, they can play at the top level. If you came back home, the local league beat the women or the men, it's quite embarrassing. Sure. And I've been raising questions. Paul Otula, the federation chief, a former high school principal at Maseno, a man who loves basketball through and through. We've not really seen the Otula we thought he was at Maseno. There are no proper structures in place. A simple thing as a fixture, who is going to play who? It will take you 2 days just trying to get this fixture, calling the KBF secretary and so forth.
That's why I pick this federation. Because, let me quote the Bible.
Today. Amen.
To whoever
much is given.
Much is given. Much is expected. That is Luke 12:48, if I'm not wrong.
Be careful not to be like somebody we know.
No, it's that's the truth.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've talked about Otula. I even wonder why at times these leaders want to be re-elected. Because once you've done...
And actually earned a new mandate.
Yes, he earned a new mandate just the other day. Why should I be re-elected to a federation where I feel that I've reached my peak as far as ideas are concerned? Because these federations, that's why I quoted the Bible, whoever is given much is expected. Right. You need also to come out. As much as we blame our government for not supporting the Morans, we also need to bring in these federations. How much do you get? And this is where the problem starts with the government. These federations receive a lot of money from the world bodies. They don't declare this. They only want the government to be funding. But when I'm funding you, need to also want to give me returns and reports, because I should not just be funding you. Then once you're done with receiving money from me, you disappear. You need also to come back and tell me that, yes, you gave me 10 million. This is how I spent the 10 million. I received another 2 million from another partner, from the world body. Such things need to be brought to fore. But most of these federations, what they do, they only just go to pick money from the government, but they don't want to give
open
returns.
their books.
Time has come that they have to show their books, because these are public offices. These are not private offices where you feel that you don't need to show your books. You have to come out and show us what you receive and how you've spent it.
And I think the other thing is also, if indeed there is a problem, because this has been a recurring thing in terms of travel. So if there is a problem, whether it is from the government side, who maybe they're saying, okay, we gave you this and you've not accounted for it, it goes back to what we've also said on this show, which is communication. Let them make the public aware that the reason why we are not giving funds this time is because last time we did this. These people have not opened their books to us, and therefore this is what we're doing. Or if it's on the other side, the federation side, if it is Otula has some issues, or whoever it is has some issues, then they say that this is the thing, that this is why this is happening. There's somebody in here who's misappropriating, or we didn't receive enough money. basically, bottom line, somebody should tell us, because it is absolutely unexplainable. If in any place where there is planning, for you to say, sasa sisi hatuendi, tunaomba tafadhali mfungue pay bill number, such. It is again, like you said, Swila, very, very embarrassing.
Embarrassing, and success is planned. You keep saying it's not an event. It has to be by design. You put in place proper plans with an aim of attaining something. And you look at Morans, by the way. Look at the high turnover of coaches. The other time it was Cliff O'Ward. Before we know it, Australian Liz Mills. You remember the white lady was here? Before we could really digest. Again, she lives under a cloud of uncertainty. Nobody is even out there to clear the air on why Liz Mills has left. Again, now they're traveling out. It's not really clear who is going to be in charge in the dugout, whether it's the assistant coach, whether it's O'Ward will be linking up with the team. So it's a total mess. But Morans is the only semblance of order in as far as our basketball is concerned. The league is a total mess. And if Otula is watching, and we challenge him next week, he can come here for a right of reply. We want to see order. We want to see leadership. We want to see a professional run league. I don't need to call to get a fixture. They need to have a functional running website. We know next week the action will be in Kisumu. We need to see the table standings. You see, in this era and age, you can't run a federation like a kiosk. You really have to professionalize things. So if you can't get the basics right, guys, how are you going to convince a corporate to come and pump 500
That's
million?
why I quoted Luke 12:48.
Yes.
You're given more is expected.
Right.
You don't expect the government or any other corporate to come in, and yet even a simple thing like a fixture cannot come from your federation. Time has come, and I also think us as journalists at times we fail to highlight such incidences, because Swila and I, perhaps, we might be bold enough to come out and say, but very few of us are bold to expose what is happening in these federations. At times, I'm also a victim of being, at times, going silent, yet you need to come out and say exactly what happens.
Right.
Though the problem with these federations, once you start hitting, they will hit you back by...
You're marked as an enemy.
Yes, an enemy. You'll be eliminated from... Okay, I don't want to go into that, but time has come that people must be bold enough and tell these people.
Right, right. Speaking about being bold, well, here comes, we want to do what we call a double header. We'll talk about FKF League returning, the prospects there, and double that up with Gor Mahia and Leopards. They're about to put ink to paper in some of the deals that they're working on for this. There are figures around 60, 80 million. We are waiting to see what that does. Hopefully, they listen to Swila, because the problem that we've had in the past is corporates coming in, people signing. First of all, sometimes we don't get the whole, if it is really transparent, we don't get to see exactly what, because I see there's a lot of, internationally, when you hear a player has been signed, you will know this player has been signed for this, add-ons. You'll know the contract experience, and they'll
how
know.
long it will last.
In fact, even for Eric Haaland, is it Eric? Or for Haaland?
Erling Haaland.
Erling Haaland, we already know his exit clause, how much it cost, and that Real Madrid have already prepared to pay 4 years upfront.
We already know Sadio Mane,
yes,
will earn 250,000 a week. How much is that Kenya shillings? Around 40 million a week.
A week, yes.
Thereabouts, we know about Mo Salah signing 450,000 a week. That's around 80 million a week.
And you already know
salaries.
If you want him, what the exit clause is.
Yeah,
yes.
And what you need to do.
And what you need to do. So that's not true of
our clubs, and that's what we were saying actually last week. Yeah, because even the coming of board of a new gaming firm who want to be shirt sponsors of Gor and Leopards. I won't really be over the moon over that, because we've seen in the past they've signed so many deals. But even with those deals, what we see every day and hue and cry is walking around with the begging bowls, players stranded left, right, and center, allowances delayed, and so forth. But again, my good friend Rachir is a top lawyer in this country, one of the best in as far as conveyancing law is concerned. So the exit clause you are talking about, probably this time we want to hear our shirt sponsors are exiting, but based on the exit clause, we signed a 3-year deal. They have paid this in latent spirit. That has never been the case. We have corporates who are taking advantage of our clubs because they are broke and they are frustrated. They can't put their foot down. And these corporates are taking advantage of them. So it's a high time Rachir and Dan Shikanda, his friend who earned a new deal, can get this right. If not, why can't they go on the table with professional contract negotiators to do the bidding for them? Because what we've seen is not really exciting. And Shitera last week was talking about Yanga, not just in terms of the how passionate the fans are, but look at the strides they've made. Look at now a club saying, we are building houses for our players, because there is some order there. They have short, medium, and long-term plans, how we want to reach there. And that's why year in, year out, they're coming to Kenya and snatching the best talents. Joash Balin Onyango went there, Kaata went there, Medi Kagere went there. Right now, there are talks, Kumuba is leaving Kaizer Chiefs in South Africa, and his next destination is Tanzania. Wow. Kenya, we can't say of the same, because probably Akumu in South Africa, maybe on a bare minimum, he could be earning around 600,000 shillings. In Kenya, we can't afford to pay him that 60 years down the line after independence. So it's a big shame. So in my view, the men and women we've had leading our clubs and federations are not up to scratch. And this now, we need to start asking ourselves hard questions. The regime that's going to come into place, and I want to believe you're going to have the right man for sports, can now start cleaning the rot, pure, with the aim of ensuring that we go forward. See what Samuel Eto'o is doing in Cameroon. Right. He's actually rolled out his plan by 2025. In the Cameroonian top division, the minimum wage a player should earn should be 75,000 Kenyan shillings. And again, he said, I want quality. So I'm reducing the number of leagues from 18 to 16. And you can see Eto'o has clear, concrete plan of how he wants to do this, because he's played the game locally and at the top level. He understands what it takes to go there. And he told them, even the national team, I want men who are ready to fight for this emblem, for this badge. If you are not ready, stay aside. Yeah, those big name stars. Who is the Liverpool defender who refused to take part in the qualifiers?
Matip.
Yeah, Matip, Joel Matip. He said now, because we've qualified for the World Cup, because now you want to hog the limelight, no, stay away. We qualified without you. We want people who are proud, because it was there. But one thing he's saying, the problems I faced as a player while playing for Cameroon will never be replicated as so long as I'm the federation chief. Yes. Right? He came there within a short time. Under COVID, they had a splendid AFCON. They lost to Algeria in the first leg World Cup qualifier. And he told guys, we are going to Algiers, not to make up the numbers, but we are going to roar as lions. We are going to qualify for this World Cup. And they beat Algeria in Algiers, and now they'll be in Qatar. Now, that's the kind of leadership we need in our federation. Not just football, but across all this. If we have really men who have the vision and know what it takes. Yeah. Because sports, as you are saying, is not just a pastime activity, as some see it. On a Sunday afternoon, I go to Nyayo and watch the game. Right now, it's a multi-billion, and it's employing lots of people. And I keep saying right now, I was looking at the Jomo Kenyatta Sports Ground, or Sports Stadium in Kisumu. What if today, God said now, we want to make this our home turf? We are signing a deal with the national government. We are signing a deal with the county government. All the revenues that will be raised here on match day, as Gor Mahia, we are going to have 60% of it, 20% to the county government, 20% to the national government. Then you rally the funds. And I mean recruiting members, not the noisemakers. I mean people who pay monthly or yearly subscription to the club. Right. And I'm going to say, because Raburu, yes, you've bought the ticket, the VVIP or the VIP, and you've paid this for the entire year. Come to all our home matches, sit at the VIP with your family, and for having subscribed as a year-long member and you're paying the highest premium, you're going to be entertained there. You walk to that stadium, you have your seat reserved, You will be served beverages with your family throughout the match. Nobody gonna yell obscenities and throw stones at you. Then now we have tier 2 again.
Yes.
Probably now Arocho in this class will be there.
So Arocho is not on VIP.
No, me, I'll be anywhere.
Yeah. Then now we have the tier 3, or where now that end where you just screaming Gor Mahia through the match, or equivalent of the cop,
yes,
or the yellow wall in Borussia Dortmund. You see, and now you sign a deal even with a bank and say, we want streamlined, structured membership drive.
Right.
It's very much doable.
Right. Swila, I think you're living in a different world. Why am I saying so? At times our failures are by design. Why am I saying so? Look at Gor Mahia for an example. Top brilliant legal mind. You cannot say that Gor Mahia is lacking leadership as far as brains are concerned. At times I think these things are done by design. I'll give you an example. The other day, Football Kenya Federation signed a deal with an non-existing partner, and nobody asked. We never saw that partner for about 1.5 years, and then the partner just left. You know, time has come that everything must be put on the table. We had a chat with Shikanda, who came out and said that he never saw the deal that the federation signed with that particular partner. It's shameful when a club president says that he's never seen a deal, leave alone journalists, leave alone fans, has never seen a deal that is directly affecting his club. This has been happening all through the regimes. It's not only one regime. And that's why I feel that it's done by design. People do it by design so that they can benefit in one way or the other. Another good example is the SuperSport deal.
Right.
Very few people saw that deal. In fact, there's a time that there was a court order or something that compelled the guys who had that deal to share it with the rest. It reached a time that when few people come in and feel that they own the game, they will make decisions. They'll not consult anyone. That's why we have the problems we're having, where a partner just wakes up one early morning and says that I'm leaving. Look at the way SuperSport left. There was there any exit clause when they left? Look at what what happened with the StarTime deal. They just wake up and leave. Look at the other betting partner, the way they left. You just wake up and leave. It's simply because the guys who are going to negotiate these deals, either they do it by design or they are doing it to favor them. Because I'm sure their brains. Shikanda is a daktari. We've talked about Rachir. He's a very good legal mind in this country. So us as journalists, the fans, we must scrutinize these deals, because ultimately it boomerangs on the clubs. It boomerangs on the national team, because when we are affected, when the national team is affected, everybody is affected. You cannot wake up and say that I'm the only one who knows what's happening. Yet the effects of what you've signed will touch each and every Kenyan. You move out of this country, you talk about football. I was in Egypt sometime and I was talking about Kenyan football. Those guys were laughing at me because they're saying that there's no football in Kenya. And perhaps I'm not really directly involved in football, but because I'm a Kenyan, they laugh at me. But when I talked about athletics, they wanted to hear more, because they believe that athletics is where we excel. So time has come once again, Raburu and Swila, we must interrogate all these deals and make sure that they favor the clubs, the national teams, other than what is happening at the moment, where they favor the partners.
Wait, tuko na dakika 2. Nasikia muziki hapo. Oya!
Ronaldo.
2 minutes to talk about Cristiano Ronaldo, who it is emerging, according to the Times, they say that Cristiano Ronaldo has asked Manchester United, tafadhali, should there be a favorable deal out there, mimi nataka kutoka, sioni nikicheza Europa, tafadhali. It is beneath me. I have never done it in all my years.
But last week you're in denial. Why? I brought this and
no, last week Ronaldo's camp responded and said that there's no case. Now George Mendes apparently has been
they've been brave enough.
Ronaldo should leave.
Yeah,
I was one of the guys who have been defending Ronaldo all through, but I think he is a bad element in the team.
But he's your top
cannot wake
scorer.
up. Yes, either way.
Without his goals
Either
there,
way.
with United,
No,
bad vibes.
when Pep came, Kaka was doing well, Eto'o was doing well. Who else left? There are 3
yes,
people
he kicked
out.
guys from that team.
3 people, 3 top people.
So is Ronaldo leaving the solution to United's problem?
But look at the statement he made the other day. When he wakes up and says that he's not sure that this team is going to
He's
perform.
serious, yes.
He's not serious. That is bad vibe.
But that's the reality, because look, there's no winning mentality
No, there's
there.
reality, but
The players overpaid, but they are lazy.
No. It
That's
is true. It is reality, but you see, for team morale, there are things that you go and you fight in the locker room.
He's a senior player.
Fight there.
You guys, you are directing your guns on the wrong
No.
You need to direct your guns on United's executive. That's where the problem
No.
lies.
By the way, the
Yeah,
executive, the shift this time has started from
Because-
the executive. Before we even got Ten Hag.
Even there,
there's
you
a-
guys spend money. That's where it starts. How do you pay 75 million for Maguire to begin with? You guys.
No, but Maguire is a good defender.
Then what has
he
gone
just
wrong?
had some rough
He's
patch.
now also married.
No, he's just have some rough
What has
patch.
happened to Sancho?
Wait. When Maguire came to Manchester United, Sula just ashamed the devil.
He was good at least.
Thank you.
Yeah, he was good.
No, you have rough patches in life.
A whole season?
No, half the season.
It was half the season.
It was not all this.
It was half the
Ah, yeah.
season.
What has happened to
Ashamed the
Sancho?
Sancho is just failure to click and kutumiwa vizuri, because towards the sometime hapo wakati Rangnick alikuja alianza
What has happened to Rashford?
No, let me respond to
Rashford is lazy.
For me,
Thank you.
For me, Sancho, even when he came to Man, I said it, that this guy is not going. I remember I was on this very set. I said Sancho is not going to.
The same way Jesus is not going to perform.
Yes,
Gabriel
we are predicting that.
You are predicting
not-
that, not to me.
No, we are
But of course, you cannot. For you, you cannot say that.
No,
you are
but
Arsenal.
you guys, you see.
Out and out striker. That's what you called him.
Yeah, he's out and out striker, and number 9. So basically, that's what out and out is.
Okay.
Yeah. So before we bring dynamic and versatile and
Okay.
whatnot, but the thing is, Arocho, you guys just have to admit. The devil's problems are just too many to deal with. Probably
They're not
you guys,
too many.
You guys should have brought in
They can't be
Jesus
dealt
to
with. Not
finish
not,
up this problem.
No.
Yeah.
I tell you, I think the devil's problem. I like kidogo. Not that I'm really super excited, but I like how Ten Hag ameanza in terms of his trying to do his thing pole, trying to tell the players that it's about football. That's great. But like you said, over the years, most of the people who've been disturbing Manchester United, after in the Woodward is gone, David Gill is gone, there are new people there in terms of director of football and all this. What the truth is, it's going to take time.
So
The other truth is, I don't think the way football has been set up now, commercialized and all, that they will give that time. That's the
so we agree.
I don't think this
we
is the
agree
time
it's
where
one thing. Yeah.
I don't think this is the time where, like Liverpool, you can say give the guy 4 years.
So
I don't
we agree
think-
on one thing.
have
Rocho,
that.
yourself, and I. Successful people don't look like Manchester.
No.
Do you agree with that?
No. Let me tell you, I always say here again. Na hii ndo
So
shida
you
ya-
need to retract that
hii ndo
statement.
shida ya watoto wa KCPE. One event cannot say you're not successful. The true mark of success is picking yourself up after uko chini.
But that's the golden era gone by.
It's okay.
No longer,
It's okay.
I thought
We have the chance to
Shitera being absent. We could have peace.
But there has been a lot of
I
peace and
said that
order.
way too early. Swilla, you're just bashing on us, Manchester United. But let me tell you something.
In fact, even Gary Neville.
No.
Even you are on.
What Gary Neville
Let
and
me
Valencia.
finish by saying this. You might start the season quite well. You might. Underline the white might. But ultimately, Manchester United will finish on top of Arsenal.
Before the ball is kicked.
Yes, I've said it.
Okay.
And we are here. My
Producer
4th
have
of July.
that in
I've said
library.
it.
That's the 4th
It
of
is
July.
the 4th of July.
2022.
Tafadhali, Winnie, mark it. 4th of July. We shall revisit next year. Rocher's prediction. Thank you so much for watching. And of course, we hope, bado tuko na some time. We hopefully will sign some players. But like Sula said, wacha tu tujue kwamba vitu zinatoka from within. A big shout out to Pastor Maurice Serulo Alan, who's also watching from Kisumu.
So,
shout out to you.
Tukutane Nakuru.
Tukutane na for Prince Lu na Agoro Sare on Sunday. Yes. All right. So, see you people tomorrow. Remember, successful people look like you. Full stop. God loves you and that will never change. Wagwan.